Hello, and welcome to another session of Late Night Games. I'm your host, Paul, and this is a brief intermission. We're currently in the midst of playing XCOM Enemy Unknown. We just finished episode 13, and I thought this would be a good time to take a pause, talk about the game so far, our initial thoughts, where we are in the game, and our direction from here. First off, let's start with my first impression of the game. Now, my opinion of the game so far is that it's a very well-made XCOM game. I used to be a huge fan of the XCOM franchise once upon a time, back with XCOM and XCOM Alien Apocalypse, both of which I played the hell out of when I was in high school. This being said, a revisit to that old franchise was something I was excited for when I first heard about XCOM Enemy Unknown, and this game hasn't disappointed me thus far. The one thing I do like is that this does revisit with the old games the balls-to-the-walls hard difficulty level that the XCOM games are well known for. The aliens don't play fair. They don't play on equal terms. They are stronger than us, and that's the whole challenge with this game. It's a struggle against an enemy that you are outmatched against. It's not a game where your hero is able to blow everything apart and hack everything down and survive every hit. A soldier can be killed in a single shot if an alien gets lucky. And once that soldier is dead, that soldier's dead. There's no bringing him back. The aliens don't stop coming. They're unrelentless, and that's something I've loved about the XCOM games. This is something that not many other games can pull off to the same degree that XCOM has, and it's one of the reasons why I love the franchise so much. The game has a nice, clean, polished look, and the game mechanics are solid. The ability to level units up not just in rank, but also give them new skills, is something that I can greatly appreciate. It makes it that much more poignant when a unit dies, because you don't just lose a unit that has a little bit of extra strength or slightly better accuracy, you lose a unit that can make or break a mission for you with their abilities. You lose someone who can heal your team, revive fallen team members. You lose someone who can blow shit up. I mean, the units in this have that much more of a strength, especially with the different character classes, which is something that's fairly unique to this game. I don't believe any of the other XCOM games have that. The character customization is something I also very much enjoy. I do find it a little limiting with the hairstyle. You can't get girls with pigtails or anything like that, but it is a military-based game, so that does make sense. Moving on, the only critique I really have about this game is the inability to change country flag. While country flags are a nice touch, if you're customizing a character's name and call sign to match, say, a friend of yours, it would be a little nicer to also be able to set them to your friend's country of origin. But what you have to do is wait for a character of the right country to randomly populate, and then you can customize them. Otherwise, just ignore the fact of the country and go from there. Moving on to our specific playthrough of the game and the mistakes we've made, I'd say our biggest mistake so far is focusing far too much on research. I got way too many scientists early on in the game and did not get near enough engineers. This is evident by how underprepared we were in Mission 7 when the Muton first appeared. We didn't have the armor to survive 1 or 2 hits from these guys. 6 health was still standard for a unit. We didn't have that body armor built, and to this day we still don't have some of the more advanced abilities in the Foundry unlockable because our research far surpassed our engineering capabilities. We were able to research almost anything in a matter of a few days, but we can't build anything that we've researched. So it's gotten to the point where researchers are sitting with their thumbs idle and the engineers are struggling to keep up with the orders we have. The other thing I would have focused on earlier on, knowing what I know now, is getting satellite coverage up faster, but not putting the satellites in orbit until a country is at high panic. I've noticed that when the satellite first goes up, the panic drops by about 2 points. If you put it on a country that's already at 1 panic, they're going to stay at 1 panic, because 1 panic's the default. If you throw it up, though, so it arrives on a country that's got 5 panic, that'll bring it down to half panic and potentially keep them in the game. Now, I've been reading, and apparently, once you hit 8 countries lost, the game's over. Your troops are done. The XCOM project is shut down, and the Earth is lost. We've currently, at this point, lost 5 countries in our current playthrough, and we've got several more that are redlining, or at the very least in the orange, ready to quit at any time. So I don't foresee us winning the game this time through, but we've definitely learned a lot and seen a lot of action. Now, the specific aliens that have been giving us the most trouble are the mutons. These buggers here, first introduced in episode 7, which unfortunately you couldn't see, later came back in episode 9, and they've been coming back ever since. And these guys can wipe a party out. In a large enough number of them, I can't, even to this day, take them on. Now, we were in episode 13 able to take on 2 of them, as well as a new Berserker unit, which constantly advances every time you shoot it, but that's with the most advanced weapons we have now in episode 13. The equipment we had back in episodes 7 and 9 was just nowhere near sufficient to take these things out in large numbers. 1 or 2, maybe, but once you got more than 3 going, the party didn't stand much of a chance. 1 soldier would be down, then we'd have a smaller party, then the next soldier would be down, and then you're left with 1 person trying to fend off the last muton, and it's just not happening. The poison of the Thin Men is also something that's been quite the contender in killing our units off. It hasn't actually been the cause of anyone's death, but it has caused a lot of our units to lose health, and this loss of health is one of the main reasons why other aliens are then able to swoop in and take the kill. Now, these flying disc things that transform into robots, they remind me of something out of Star Wars The Phantom Menace, which I'd hate to reference, but it's the only point of reference I really have that matches these things. They, while being fairly easy to take down if you focus fire, have that grenade toss ability, and oh god, do I hate that grenade toss. The alien grenade is way too strong to deal with, as it can deal up to 5 damage to anyone within its range. Then again, I love using the alien grenade for that same reason. It can deal up to 5 damage to anyone within its range. So, since the aliens do start with the superior weaponry, it's a little bit of give and take. You manage to get a few of them alive, you steal their weapons, you get better weapons. You don't, and they blow you up. Going forward, our plans to try and salvage whatever we can is to focus more on engineers. The reason we're focusing on engineers is engineers really are where our biggest weakness is right now. If we can get enough engineers on staff to research the better armor and the better weapons, not research, but develop the better armor and better weapons, we should be able to hold off the aliens and potentially rescue the Earth. I don't know if we'll win this one. As I said, we're fairly close to that 8-country point, but at least we're going to go down and put up a good fight on our way. So stay tuned for episode 14, which will be the next in the XCOM Enemy Unknown series. I want to thank you all for following us on this journey through the world of XCOM Enemy Unknown, while we fight back against the aliens and try to retain our planet from this invasion. If you haven't already, please subscribe so you can keep up to date on all our future video releases for XCOM and everything else we play. In addition, hit like if you like what you're seeing. If you have any suggestions, throw them in the comments section below, and you can check us out on Facebook or on Twitter. On Twitter, we just have announcements of what's going on, as well as I just tweet random things to random people all the time. On Facebook, however, we're trying to get it as more of a community, so we can get the viewer involved as well. We hold polls to determine what games people would like us to see playing next, as well as I'm planning on having some discussions so people can chat about the games that they're playing, get a community going, and get everyone else involved. And it is you, the viewer, that make a YouTube channel what it is. Without a viewer, a channel is just a place where a bunch of video is stored. It's the viewer that perceives the content that really makes it come to life and makes it what it is. So I want to thank you all very much for joining us here, and I hope to see you more in the future in further Let's Plays with Late Night Games. I've been your host, Paul, and thank you for joining me on this intermission.